Anthony Rumble Johnson was slated to fight Johnny Bones Jones at UFC 187, but just 25 days prior to the event, it was revealed that Johnny Bones had been pulled from the UFC and suspended indefinitely, and also was stripped of his title due to a crash that he caused in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he T-boned a pregnant lady. Therefore, Daniel Cormier came in on just 25 days short notice to fight Johnson for the vacant UFC Light Heavyweight Championship of the world. Early on in that fight, Johnson landed what he usually does, a big old right hand on Cormier's dome piece, dropping him, putting him belly down on the canvas. But what happened next was the most surprising thing in this matchup. We knew that Johnson was going to land a big punch. I didn't think that Cormier was going to be able to get right back to his feet and then take down Johnson when Johnson got himself out of balance and overextended himself trying to go in for the kill. And from that moment on, Cormier did what you should do in order to beat Anthony Rumble Johnson, which is take away his spacing and do stuff to him that tires out his arms and sapping his confidence. Yes, Daniel Cormier embraced the grind and was able to get a third round rear naked choke victory over Anthony Johnson. We're just going to talk about that fight basically, but let's address what they've done since that time. Daniel Cormier has been in a slobber knocker, a real war against Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson. Went to a decision, close fight. And then he fought Anderson the Spider Silva, who in my opinion is the greatest fighter of all time, and he went to a decision with him. I think he could have got the finish, but it was like a 30-25, 30-26, so a very dominant performance. But talking about dominant performances, Anthony Johnson has not been out of the second round since that time, knocking out Jimmy Manuwa, Glover Teixeira, and Ryan Bader, all with those big old punches. In different ways slightly, but pretty much the same thing each time. How is this fight, the rematch between Johnson and Cormier, going to be different? When they fought the first time, like I said, Johnson overextended himself trying to go in for the kill, and Cormier was able to hit a few reactive takedowns and get on top of Johnson, tire him out pretty darn quickly. There were a few times where Cormier went in on a single leg and Johnson was able to defend pretty magnificently. Anthony Johnson has fantastic takedown defense, folks. When he was on one leg, Cormier trying to get that single leg takedown, he unloaded some bombs on Cormier's head that would put normal men out on the canvas. In fact, this is what Johnson does with his striking. When he's in an orthodox stance, he will throw an uppercut like he knocked out Glover, or he'll throw an overhand right like when he knocked down Cormier. When he's in a southpaw stance, he's going to be throwing his left leg like he hit Cormier in the dome piece, which once again would knock out lesser men. But let me ask you this, guys. How many punches and kicks from Johnson an average human can take? My guess is that Cormier almost hit that limit. And I was really surprised that he stayed awake during that. The next time, this is going to be a little over a year and a half after they fought the first time. All that has happened is Cormier is older and has taken more damage. Yes, Johnson has aged as well, but Cormier's toward the upper limit of the age where you're successful in UFC competition, sans the heavyweight division, but he's taken a lot of damage since then. See the Gustafsson fight, and Johnson has barely been punched. I think that in this fight, the rematch, Johnson is able to land one of those big old right hands, and this time Cormier won't get back up. Or if he does get back up, Johnson won't overextend himself. He won't get himself out of balance, and he will be able to keep that same spacing and land another big old shot that will definitely put Cormier down. If I can see that Johnson was getting himself out of balance way too much, throwing way too big of punches, trying to kill Daniel Cormier, then certainly Johnson can see it and his team can see it as well. They will make the necessary adjustments to come back in this fight where he'll have more than 25 days notice to fight Daniel Cormier, and this time he will win via KO or TKO. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that Cormier is able to use that kryptonite once again, sap the energy of Johnson, and embrace that grind to a submission, perhaps to a decision? What do you think? Tell me about it in the comment section down below. Let's talk about it. Give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Namaste.